Ambush, yelled the sergeant. First platoon, move up on the right flank. The rest of you fall back and cover. Pfeiffer, sound distress. The musk scent was overpowering, and the shrews regrouped to face the attacks from the thicket. And the little Pfeiffer sent the notes of the distress call piping across the moonlit meadow until a spear cut him short. The drummer boy snatched up the fife, and the piercing call trilled in the moonlight again, drawing another whistling flight of spear. Then the fife was once more silent as the drummer fell with the spear in his throat. He tried to shout, "Onward, shrews!" but he had no breath left to say it, and died without a word. "Here they come," cried the sergeant, and the enemy shrews were upon them, shrieking their battle cry. "Ours! Ours! Ours!" "Now!" said the frog to the father. Keeping low and moving quickly, he pulled the 3 spears from the snow, arming himself with one and placing the others under the father's arms so that they pointed forward over the child's shoulders. He was about to wind the father for the flight when the mouse child's eyes met his. For an instant, the frog was held by some silent compulsion, while the shrill cry of battle rose around them. Then he knew that the child wanted and dared not ask for. Hesitating only a moment, Frog leapt among the shrews where the fighting was the bloodiest, took the nutshell drum from the body of the little soldier, and returning safely, hung it around the mouse child's neck. "Aw, follow us," shouted the father to the captives, cowering behind them. "Onward, mice!" cried the child, and felt the little drum resounding in his voice. The wood mice, with much whimpering, followed, flattening themselves against the snow while spears battled against father and son and flew over their heads. Frog, ducking and dodging, fought off the shrews that blundered into his path, but both sides were too absorbed in the battle to pursue the fleeing rations. Once among the trees at the meadow's edge, the surviving wood mice dispersed and ran for their homes, while the breathless frog gleamed his spear and panted, and the mouse and his child strode forward until the spring ran down. Behind them on the snow lay fallen shrews and wood mice, their open mouths still shaping final cries of rage and fear. Their open eyes fast glazing in the moonlight. The mouse child stared beyond his father's shoulder at the astonishing stillness of the dead. The father looked at the spears he carried. He had felt the weight of his enemies upon them, and for the first time in his life he knew what it was. He knew what it was to strike a blow for freedom. "Look," said Frog. The snow was black with screaming shrews as the opposing... "Look," said Frog. The snow was black with screaming shrews as the opposing armies of meadows and stream, responding to the distress calls, converged in the hollow, and the dead and the dying were trampled in alternate waves of attack and retreat. "Ours, ours, ours!" chanted the defenders of their territory, while the attacking shrews, giving ground, but always charging again, screamed, "Onward, onward, onward!" While the frog and the mouse and his child watched from the trees, 2 weasels came bounding over a rise on the ground on the other side of the hollow. Lithe and keen, they seemed almost to slide between the moonbeams as they ran. Then they stopped, their heads swaying snake-like as they sniffed the musk scent. "I know you'll like this place," said the female to her mate. "I came here the other night. It was really a darling little hollow. There's always something good. Smell those shrews." "There's no... I don't know," said the male. "Shrews what I ate for lunch." "There's no pleasing you," said the female. "And they're such tempting little fellows, too." Below them, both armies were dragging off the wounded and the dead. As the moon sank low, their moving shadows lengthened in the blood-stained snow. The glittering crust was unbroken by the tiny trampling feet. "Look," said the female, as both armies drew back and closed ranks around their charge. "They're all lined up in rows, ever so neat." "Oh, all right," said the male. "Let's have shrews then. I don't want to argue about it." The weasels followed like hungry shadows down to the hollow, and once among the shrews, struck left and right with lightning swiftness, smiling pleasantly with the blood of both armies dripping from their jaws. Not a single shrew escaped. When the weasels had satisfied their thirst for blood, they bounded away, leaving behind them heaps of tiny corpses scattered in the snow. "God, I'm sorry, Chrissy. This is a nice territory," said the female. "It's the nicest we've had yet. I'd kind of like to settle down here for a while." "That's not bad," said her mate. "Not a bad little territory at all. I could see us making a home here." They nuzzled each other affectionately as they ran, and their heads were so close together that when the horned owl swooped down on the moonlight, his talons pierced both brains at once. Oh, God. What is with this chapter? "My land," wheezed the owl as he rose heavily with the weasel's limp bodies dangling from his claws. "2 at once. The missus won't believe me when I tell her. Yes, sirree," he chuckled. "As territories go, this is a mighty good one." He flew on, and the earth slid back below him, silver in the moonlight. Over the Metal Mutual Horde and the Trust Company he flew, and the fields beyond the woods, over the trash fire beacons of the dump and the wind-ups and the beer can avenue, over the ruts midway where carousel played its crackled waltz, over the new rubbish hills, and over the charred ruin of a dollhouse with its mansard roof smashed, Its lookout missing, its chimneys toppled, and its ladies and gentlemen long gone. This is getting... I'm starting to wonder where this is going. I can't remember how this ends. It's looking grim, but it's also looking positive. Little drummer boy and the mouse. The frog and the mouse child, seeing no immediate danger after a cautious look all around, left the trees and struck out for a pine woods beyond the stream at the far end of the meadow. The full moon, low behind the black trees, watched them like a yellow eye as they reached the stream and followed it. Frog thumped softly on the snow as he hopped, the matchbox rattled, the clockwork buzzed, the tin feet of the mouse and his child scraped and slid upon the snow. The stream beside them gurgled under the ice. Onward, mice, muttered the father to himself as he pushed his son ahead. Most of the cloth of his trousers had been torn away by spears, and his bare tin glinted in the moonlight where his fur was missing. The child, similarly battle-worn, listened to the drum as it thumped and rattled on his chest, but walked backward in silence. There are pines on the far side of the stream, said Frog. We can cross there. He helped the mouse and his child down the bank and onto the ice. Destiny has many rivers, he began. Oh, but he never finished the sentence. There was a swoop of soft wings as he spoke, a gust of cold air, and Frog rose up above the stream in the talons of the horned owl's mate. Father and son, knocked flat, heard the fortune-teller's coin clink in the ice beside them. Good luck, called the deep, sad voice of their friend and uncle. The frog was gone in the last of the moonlight. Oh. Oh. Duh. This is rough. This is rough. Oh God. I'm so sorry, Christy. The sky was brightening into dawn when Manny Rat approached the hollow tree where the shrews had fought. He moved slowly and laboriously, clanking as he walked, where he fashioned the armor for himself from the 2 tin cans, and thus protected from the poison spears, had come to snatch his victims from the shrew. The elephant labored behind him in the snow, with one eye fixed on him, as though hatred alone kept her rusty works in motion. Manny Rat walked through the thickets of spear shafts among the silent ranks of the dead, cursing quietly as he looked in vain for signs of remnants of the toy mice and the frog. After making sure that no live shrews lurked nearby, he divested himself of the tin can, straightened his paisley dressing gown, and considered the situation. Well, he said at length, having come this far, I might as well continue. It's really quite remarkable how they keep on going. What a relief it will be to smash them. Sighing philosophically, he dined on the weasel's head left, and provisioning the elephant's paper bags for future travel, he took up the trail again. The sun was up, the spears in the snow, like gnomons, marked the hour with their shadows, and the blue jay reporter flashed over the battlefield. Late bulletin, he squawked. Night battle on meadow border results in... He paused and flew lower, and in some confusion as to who had won and who had lost. Victory, he concluded, pleading with a sound, extending his headline. Victory, 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 he screamed, and was gone to the business of the day. Behind him on the battlefield, 2 tin cans glinted in the sunlight, and one of them a scrap of paper fluttered in a little banner in the morning breeze. Bonzo dog food, said the label, and on it a little black and white spotted dog, wearing a chef's cap, smiled on his image in the smaller Bonzo can as he carried off his tray. Which means something has to be close by. I need something good coming out of this story. Oh, man. Okay. I'm just... Well, some interesting stuff comes up soon. Oh, and I got a minute left. Bollocks. Alright, well, I'm just gonna stop this and keep reading a bit. I can't... I'm gonna go until I get to this next little section where another character is introduced. I love you, I'll talk to you soon.